So welcome back to the weekly Forex Outlook and Review, everyone. We're going to go through 10 pairs today. The pairs that we've chosen is Pound USD, USD JPY, Euro Pound, Euro JPY, USD Cad, Euro USD, Aussie Dollar USD, Pound JPY, New Zealand Dollar USD, and Euro New Zealand Dollar. So we have quite a few USD pairs there, but I guess they are the best pairs to trade. So we're going to take a look at these pairs on the 4H time frame. If we need to, we will scale down to the hourly time frame. But I think our main focus will be 4H, and the analysis that we're going to be doing will be for the next 24 to 48 hours. Obviously, the gaps in the market on Sundays we'll need to correct, and we'll need to get a true directional bias and see what the market sentiment is tomorrow. So these are not signals. What I'm about to talk about now is of my own opinion, and this is just for educational purposes only. This is not financial advice, okay? So the first pair that we'll take a look at is Pound USD. I mean, I'm so excited to be able to prepare for tomorrow. I really cannot wait for next week. I just cannot wait for next week. So looking at Pound USD, what can we see? Well, the first things first, let's drop in here our brick wall. And the importance of this brick wall is not that it's a trend line and that we're planning to buy or sell if price comes back to bounce this. What we have to identify when we drop in this trend line is that price has been trading above this for a very long period of time, right? So any buying opportunities that were above this brick wall would have been valid, regardless of your stop loss size, regardless whether you had range. Just in theory, because the market is pushing to the upside and it's in a trend to the upside, buys would have been valid. Now we have a structural change here, and we can see with the price action, price pushed really strong to the upside, continuing this uptrend, making a new higher high, and then look, it started to top out. Now, for a very long period of time, price was attempting to continue to break up and make new higher highs following this overall bullish sentiment. But the structure changed, and we finally had a violation of this structure. Now, what could this possibly mean? Well, in theory, it could mean that we may be entering a reversal phase. Does it mean we've entered the reversal phase yet? Nope, not at all. And does it mean that we've gone from being bullish to bearish? Nope, not at all. Would I say we're continuing bullish? Well, I'd say for now, no. I would say that the only thing I'd be anticipating or looking out for the next 24 to 48 hours until we do our morning analysis again on Tuesday is sales only. So planning these sales from a high time frame perspective, we have to look for areas on the market where we could suspect the market to get back to. And let's just say now price has been trading around this area for a period of time. We can see here that price was failing to break above this structure for, let's say, 4 hours. Eventually, we had a break above. Now, if you're looking for buying opportunities, this is a great opportunity from a day trading perspective to be able to scale down to some of your lower time frames to identify the trend change in the market, going from being bearish to then bullish, looking for price to break close above structure, and looking for retests of areas in the market where you can see the price has reacted here. Now, let's say you bought this structure and this trade, this pattern, this break and retest pattern, and you took it with this strong bullish candle. Now, if you have taken this trade, first question you have to ask yourself when doing your analysis as well, and it's very good for you all to get into a habit of doing this also, is where would your first target be? Well, in theory, your first target will be a major key level on your structural time frame, which will be here, right? Or in and around this level. Now, we have a 1.23 risk reward ratio, meaning that we have enough range to get to 1-to-1, okay? Now, we're not saying that the market is going to get back there, but this is how you'd approach the trade if you're scaling down and you're looking for this trading opportunity. This is where your target would be. So now, when we look at this from a high time frame perspective, looking for continuation sells, what we have to say to ourselves is, if we did take this as a buy, this is where we suspect the market to go because it previously broke above structure and now we expect it to get here. So why would that change all of a sudden now that we're looking for sells from a 4H perspective? Well, it changes nothing. And this is why approaching the markets and doing your analysis like this is very important. We do suspect the market could get back here. So planning next week to trade this, I would say if I'm looking for continued sells, my first plan of action would be to see if the markets could get back to some of these structural highs. This is a nice retest area in the market. This is a solid key level. This is a previous area in the market where price created a lower high and created the new lower low. And if we come back, we not only form good structure or clean structure, we also form a beautiful double top pattern And we know if we take double top patterns in a downtrend, over 100 trades will come out profitable. More than likely, 99.9% sure we will. So that's what we're waiting for. Plan A. For price to get back here and then see if we get a reaction for a continuation back to the downside. Now, let's say the market doesn't get back here. Well, we can say to ourselves, there's two options we have. You wait for the next break and retest at a major low, or you look for scaling down opportunities if price breaks some of these structures. And how that would look from a lower time frame perspective would be this. It would now again require the uptrend to change from being bullish to see the structure start creating lower lows and lower highs, finally break a strong area in the market where price is held, create this downtrend, and then look for this retest and this continuation. Now, if, in my opinion, if somebody tells me trading is not art, they're a donut. Every Sunday, I'm just still amazed to think how beautiful trading is. Like, I just think it's just the most beautiful thing in the world. So I don't know why I just said that, but I just really enjoyed breaking that analysis down, and I just think it just was amazing. That's how I'd plan it. Okay, so does this make sense, family? And are you happy with this analysis on pound USD, and do you fully understand it? Okay, perfect. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So that's how I'd plan it. Pretty nice. Now, some of you might say, okay, none of you are saying, but let's say you may be thinking this. What happens if it doesn't respect this price action, starts breaking above, etc., etc.? Well, look, that's why we do our analysis every single morning. Because if it doesn't play out, guess what? You don't take a trade and you don't lose anything. You just wait for the next day, you do your analysis again, and you go fresh. And that's it. Charles says, why can't the low be a key level? What low be a key level, Charles? The low is a key level. No way. Why would we be buying? Why would we be buying? The market sentiment is showing us signs of a potential reversal. Structures making highs, and lower lows. So if we come to the charts, you choose your directional bias of what you want to trade, which is either going to be buys or sells, and you stick to that decision. My decision is sells because of the brick wall break, lower low, lower high, lower low formation, and now I'm looking for a pattern of a double top. You've all seen me trade live, and I make my plan and I stick to it. If it doesn't play out, guess what? I'll just wait for the market to tell me different. And then I will then come back, reanalyze, and if it was a buy, then I'll start looking for buys. Double top. You talking about this low here, Charles? This one here. No higher. Here. Well, look, why would I look for a retest at this level now? I know this is a low that was broken, but if I plan to take my trade and I want to sell here because I get a reaction, and then I put my stop loss here, and then I go for the trade, and then price decides to stop me out because it wants to come back to the major key level, the lower high that made the lower low, would I want to be risking that? Price could react from that level 1000% and go down as a retest. But I'm not a pattern trader. I'm not a trader that comes to the charts and says, oh, I'm just looking for a break and retest and sell. I want to be safe rather than sorry. And if the market rallies off of here and I missed a trade, I couldn't care less because I'm going to take the trade when I find another opportunity. That's why I've put in all the work and the hours that I have to backtest my strategy, because I don't need to be first. I could be second or third and I'll still make money. So to be safe rather than sorry, I want price, especially for the simple fact that we're so close to the major key level. I would much prefer price to get back to a major key level where I know that there's a high chance price may not break and react to, as opposed to just see a pattern and say, well, look, let's look for the retest here. Okay. I speak about this a lot. You all should know this. So hopefully it gives you the answer. Okay, moving on to the next pair, USD JPY. So let's gather what we're seeing here. Potential what? What are we seeing here on this pair? Potential what strength? What strength are we looking at here on this currency, on this pair, sorry? What currency is potentially showing signs of strength? USD, right? So it's not confirmed. It's not confirmed, but we have an idea that there's a potential reversal in play. And if we get the evidence, then that would suggest that USD is strengthening, okay? Now, let's support that. What do we see here? We see yen strength. Let's look at this again. The overall structure on USD JPY was pushed into the upside. And obviously we know the reasons for that. We can see that price has failed to break this structure, making new higher highs. With this structure, we can see that the market started to range for a period of time. So just moving sideways, I'm not doing much here. And then we've had this really strong bearish rally to the downside. What is that indicating to us? Well, that's indicating potential dollar weakness. When we go back to pound USD, if we're looking to see this reversal in play, then in theory, we have to ask ourselves, is the dollar strong or is the pound weak? Well, we'll have to check another pound pair to start to validate the confluence here with these pairs. But as of now, it's looking like the dollar is weak, okay? Especially versus the yen. With this structure forming the way it's forming and behaving the way it's behaving, I'm going to say for the next 24 hours, I'm only looking for sells only. If the market is going to continue to push down, we really do not have any traffic here to be worrying about. So in theory, we should see the market get back down to some of these lows. So now we've got the picture. What's the plans? Well, first plan would be this. I don't want price to come back into this consolidation. Now that we've broken it, I want to see the bears really take over. Okay. So first plan clearly would be to see price get back to a major key level and look for this continuation to the downside. Why? Well, the market's in a push phase, so I do expect it to exhaust first before it decides to continue down. So this will be plan A, looking for the market to get back to this level here. Now, what if the market doesn't get back to this level here and retest it? Well, what we'll need to see is the market form some sort of key level here, and that could be indicated through a simple wick rejection, an indecision candle, whatever it may form, and that will require a 4H candle close. And then once we have a level in place, what we can do is we can scale down to entry timeframes, looking to see price holding a key level, showing signs that it's a strong level. And then what will we wait for? Well, we'll wait for the momentum to kick in again to support this yen strength, and then look for the market to retest new form structure, and then look for that continuation down. Okay, simple plan. And obviously you'll need to wait for the markets to open, see where the gaps go, and also see how the market creates a wick rejection or indecision candle to give you that level. But the easiest plan here is to see that pullback retest and then that continuation. Okay, does this make sense? Okay. So where are we at with this analysis in terms of currency strength? At the moment, it's looking like, well, you know, the thing is, this is not necessarily saying pound weakness. From a structural perspective, it's potentially showing signs of a reversal, okay? But it's not confirmed. So just bear that in mind when we're calling out pound weakness here. Yeah, pound weakness. But what we can see is dollar weakness here, okay? And we have seen dollar weakness over here, right? Let's see what we can find over here. We are now looking at euro pound, okay? So what can we see here? Well, the overall structure of this market has been pushing bearish for a long time, okay? And for a day trader, this is just absolute heaven, okay? Seeing all of these bearish candles to the downside, identifying structure is just heaven. Now, this was indicating pound strength at this moment in time. And then we started to bottom out here and consolidate. And then look what's taken over. You see this? Euro. Now, again, can we say we're confirmed by bias on this structure? Not necessarily, but we can definitely see that the pound is not playing ball, and we can see that the pound is not continuing to create those lower low, lower high formations and continue down. So if that's showing a slight weakness in the pound, that would make sense as to why this reversal is starting to play out. This could be news. This could be something to do with Brexit for sure. So we'll have to see more structural form. And that's why we wait patiently for price to come back to key levels. But that could support what we saw on GU and could also support what we may expect to see on Euro USD. So we haven't looked at any Euro pairs yet. So obviously we're going to have to go through that to really find out what it is that we want to really be looking for. But for now, we just follow clean price action and identify something very simple. Price was pushed into the downside for a very long period of time. Price started to bottom out. It failed to make new lower lows and lower highs. Then it started to consolidate, eventually breaking above the structure. And then as you can clearly see, we've continued to move up. The question here is this an exhaustion for continuation buys, or is this just going to correct this whole move and continue bearish? Well, we will have to wait patiently to figure this out. And I think we'll get a clearer picture by Monday evening. But for now, the plan is this. If this is my push phase, I'm looking for my exhaustion phase. And the safest place for me to take a trade is always going to be at a key level. And personally, I would say this is where I want to see price come to. Then I have a range back to some of these highs here that I know I could work with to make sure I get a one-to-one break-even range. And I think other than that, without getting too nitty-gritty, this will be the simplest plan until we can really figure out what's going on with the pound. Would I use this as a level? Well, you can use this as a level, but first things first is you have to understand the sentiment is bearish, okay, at the moment. You would then need price to do a couple of things. You would need price to switch from this downtrend to show signs of a bullish sentiment, so a break. Then you'd need price to retest this level to confirm this level as confirmation, and then you will need to see higher lows or potential double bottom patterns to continue this up. So even if it is a key level, it's not a level you're going to buy out immediately. You're going to need to see a whole pattern change. You're going to need to see the behavioral change, and you're going to need to see the structural change. So personally, you can use it, but I would say your safest option is always going to be your retest level. And you all must consider this. If this was Tuesday or Wednesday, this level would be valid. But because it's Sunday, you know we're going to gap down or up. And if we gap, likelihood is this is just going to be violated immediately. So bear that in mind on Sunday analysis, and let's just stick to a major key level and be safe rather than sorry. Find a reason not to take a trade, and guess what? You will learn to be patient enough to find the cleanest and the better setups, okay? If you look for a reason to take a trade, it just stirs up the urge to need to take a trade, and you start rushing and you just take trades impulsively and you start to lose, etc., etc. And it's long. Be safe rather than sorry, and trust me, everything will be all right, okay? Does everybody understand this analysis on Euro Pound? Okay, perfect. So we gathered that pound is showing signs of potential weakness at the moment, but not fully. We're also seeing here slight dollar weakness as well because of the dollar versus the yen. Let's continue to gather evidence. So here we're seeing potential euro strength, and let's take a look at euro JPY. So we know yen is showing signs of strength versus a dollar, and we know the euro is showing signs of strength versus the pound. What's happening here? Well, it's really crazy, right? And I said this to you lot a lot. When a currency is strong, i.e. yen versus a dollar, and euro versus the pound, what usually happens when you bring two strong currency pairs together or two weak pairs together, currencies together, sorry, what happens? They range, right? So now what could help to validate, or how could this help validate what we have seen with euro pound and USD JPY, that our analysis is more than likely correct? Yeah. When you bring the two currencies together, they normally range if they're both strong. And if our analysis on USD JPY was that we expect it to go down because yen is strong, and versus euro pound, we expect it to continue up because the euro looks strong, you bring those two currencies together and see a range, then it almost validates what we've said. Doesn't mean that we're right. It just means that it validates from a price action perspective that we could be right. Okay. So I'm not going to talk much about this one. You know the plans with this. We're just looking for a breakout retest, either to the upside or downside. And we'll come back to this on Tuesday morning. Okay. The next pair that we'll take a look at is USD Cad. So looking at USD Cad, okay, what can we see here? Now, we can see versus CAD that the dollar looks a lot stronger. I mean, it was clearly evident for a very long time that CAD was really doing its thing, okay? Now, we have a break of this brick wall. We don't really see anything convincing after this break because the market did start to move sideways and we started to push into this range. So at this stage, it wasn't a confirmed reversal in the market. But what we saw is that price decided to continue breaking above structure, indicating this bullish pressure. Immediately after that break again, what happened? We went into another range where we were moving sideways, and then price eventually broke close above structure. Okay. Now we see this break close above structure. We can see that right now it looks like the dollar is a lot stronger than the CAD, and the overall structure is confirming higher highs and higher low formations. For now, for the next 24 to 48 hours, I will be looking for buyers only on this pair. Moving into Monday, we'll reanalyze this on Tuesday, and I would say that I'd be looking for obviously a continuation of this bullish move. First plan, I reckon, because I don't see any clear structure to the downside where we could be retesting, would only be this. Continue this bullish strength, get this break above structure, and then what I'll be looking for is a retest of structure for then price to come back to start pushing back to the upside and then coming back into some of these key levels here where we see some of these reactions. Okay. I think that's a simple plan. I do not know where the exhaustion trades are going to come from. Sorry, the pullback level is going to come from. To be honest with you, it could be any one of these. So I prefer to stick on the side of caution and wait for the momentum shift and then the break, close above structure, and then a retest and a continuation. Okay. This is what I prefer. Does this make sense for USD CAD? And this is showing signs of dollar strength, but only versus the only versus CAD. Jamie says you have a very small failed double top at the end, or is this 2 minus be valid? This one right here, Jamie. It may be a double top, but what is the directional bias of this market right now? It's bullish, right? So we don't want to anticipate that this is a reversal. For sure it could be. For sure it could be a double top. For sure it could go down. But I only want to trade with the momentum of the market. That is it. So at the moment is bullish. It could do whatever it wants at this stage. But I'm not going to be looking for no sells. If the market decides to make a new low, pull back, make a new lower high, then make some double tops again, then I'll get in. Just back to the theory, I don't need to be first. I could be second, third, or fourth. It really doesn't matter to me, okay? So that's the plan with USD CAD. Next pair we'll take a look at is Euro USD. Now, we've identified that the dollar may be weak, and we've also identified that the euro is strong, especially versus the pound. We can confirm euro strength here, and we can also confirm that we had a potential reversal in play in this market, okay, indicating dollar strength. Price started to break this structure here, creating new lows, lower highs, and then eventually new lower lows, okay? But what we can see here is after that lower low was made, price is exhausted and at the same time continued to show signs of new structure forming. So when we scale down, you will see that as being higher highs and higher lows. This is a sign that euro is probably still strong. This move here is probably a lot to do with news or something that's happened in the world. And that's why we've had this rally. And now it looks like we're having this correction on this market. I personally would say, looking at the other pairs that we have looked at, I think that I would prefer to be bullish on Euro USD for the next 24 to 48 hours until it's confirmed, and stick to the fact that I've identified potential dollar weakness across the board. So I would only have one plan for Monday, unless it changes. Well, it won't change actually, but for Monday, and that is to see this break close above, confirm this bullish sentiment, and then look for a retest of this structure. Do I see this as price pulling back into a key level for a potential selling opportunity? No way, Jose. The way I see this is that this is the high of the range, this is the low of the range, and what's happened here is price has broken out, broken back in, and now we're confirming this continued bullish sentiment and potential dollar weakness. Now, I could be absolutely wrong, but the question is, do I care? No. I have my plan. If my plan plays out, I'll take a trade. If the plan doesn't play out, guess what? Couldn't care less. And I don't want to be a trader that comes into the markets and be's like, guess what? I want to buy and I want to sell because I see resistance and support. That's when you start messing up, and that's when things go wrong. You've all seen me on the live sessions, right? I stick to my plan. I tell you, I want to see a break close below. I want to see an indecision candle. I want to see a pullback. If it paints that picture, then I'll take the trade. But if it doesn't paint that picture, guess what? I don't take the trade, even if it goes down or up. So that's the same, even with higher time frames. This is what I'm waiting for. From a behavioral perspective, based on confluence from the other pairs, I'd much prefer to see euro strength, dollar weakness, and see buyers back to the upside for the next 24 hours, okay? Everybody happy with this analysis? Thank you very much. Okay. So Aussie Dollar USD has been on the back burner. It got the red flag quite a bit because it was moving sideways. We can clearly see here what dollar weakness, right? For quite some time. Aussie dollar was just doing its thing. Eventually started to top out, creating a range. And then we can see price broke the structure. Now, breaking this structure is a sign of potential reversal and also potential sign of dollar strength. Now, question is this a breakout exhaustion for a continuation down? It could be. I think it's too early to figure out what we're going to be doing with this pair at the moment. And if we look at this just from a logical perspective without knowing anything else that we know about what's happening with the previous pairs, if this was a consolidation, how would we see what has happened now? Just look at the behavior. What would we see this as? Yeah, Ellison said it, a break back in, right? Because if I'm looking to trade this, I'm looking for price to break the structure, then I'm looking for a retest, okay? So at this retest stage, this is where I'm scaling down to say, well, look, if this is the breakout, this is the retest, what I need to see happen now is this short-term trend shift, retest, or look for those lower low, lower high formation trades and then take the trade. Has that happened? No. What has actually happened is price has retested it, but forming higher highs and higher lows back into a consolidation area. Now, if price is back in a consolidation area, we can gather that there's obviously bullish sentiment that will help support us with what we have seen so far, which is potential dollar weakness. But again, just with that information alone, based on price action here and the structure, we don't really want to be trading it if it's breaking back into the range. Wait for true confirmation. Wait for price to get out of here or get out of here, and then look for continuations, okay? For now, I'm undecided, and I reckon Aussie Dollar USD is going to be sitting on the back burner, at least for Monday, until we can figure this one out, okay? So many scenarios could happen here. I know, see somebody said it, a Bobby could happen for sure. But there's just too much that could happen here. And I think compared to what we've seen with some of the other pairs, there are easier pairs to be trading, all right? So pound JPY. Now, without even delving too deep into this and what we've looked at from the other pairs, what bias are we on pound JPY for 24 hours, for the next 24 hours? What bias are we? Guys and ladies. Okay, interesting. We've got some mixed answers there. It's fine. Okay, we've identified euro is stronger than the pound, right? We've identified that there's a potential reversal on pound USD, meaning potential pound weakness. Euro is stronger than the pound, indicating potential pound weakness. We've identified on USD JPY yen strength. Can you see the sentiment now? We, in theory, based on all that information, should only be sell bias, okay? Let's support that. Building in structure. Brick wall to the upside. Absolutely obliterated. In an uptrend, we make higher highs and higher lows. So we make a higher high, and did we ever make a new higher high? No. Price then decided to form a level in the market where it's failing to break below, creating a range, and then finally broke out of this range, indicating sell pressure. Based on the structure, it looks like a potential reversal, which supports yen strength and pound weakness. So for the next 24 hours, the plan is to only look for sells. And I say the plan is, I say my plan is to only look for sells. What would I like to see? Well, I want to see convincingly that the yen is strong. I want to see convincingly that the pound is weak. And you can look for some retesting around this level to look for a continuation to the downside. But is that the way I trade when structure hasn't really created a beautiful pullback or hasn't really created a significant level that I'm looking to trade? Not really. I want to wait convincingly. So that means I'm going for this plan. Now, this plan is not incorrect, but considering the range, do I really want to be trading this range? Probably not. So my plan would be to see continue bearish sentiment and then look for the retest, then look for the continuation back down to some of these structural lows here. Now you see my range has increased dramatically, and I also get added confluence of this bearish sentiment or structure, and then I can take the trade. Okay, so this is how I would want to trade this for the next 24 hours if this forms. Okay, I know this is 4H, so do you count the level to your left for not left level to your left, not for trading purposes, but just show prices respecting structure? Correct. I don't use any information to the left. Charles, 0. I'm a day trader, right? And if I want to turn my trades into swings, then I'll turn my day trades into swings. Simple. The behavior of the market that I'm focusing on is for the here and now. Nothing to the left means anything to me. Okay, just current price action, but you have to gather previous behavior to understand how you can form a plan moving forward. Okay, so let me just take a look at this. Loads of news coming tonight and tomorrow. How tentative are your plans for tomorrow? Don't care, Jamie. I honestly don't care, bro, about the news. If there's news, I'll avoid it. If the market falls in lines with my plans, I'll trade it. If they get messed up because of the news, I don't care. It means I don't trade and I don't lose money, and I have my bullets ready for Tuesday. Do you understand? My ammunition will be ready for Tuesday. So it really doesn't matter to me. I don't allow the news or anything that happens in the markets to affect me. I just zero in with laser focus on what I want to see. If there's a lot of news, then make an informed decision. If the volatility is going to be really high tomorrow, guess what? It's a free bank holiday for you, and you don't have to ask anybody for permission to take a day off. You can just relax. Okay. So that's my plan. OP says, I hopped in. So what point do you buy? Well, I'm not buying OP. I wouldn't be buying at all. Listen, even if this high is broken, you should have the skills and the knowledge to know how to then transition from being sells to then looking for buys. But if you understand, so far, the analysis has been pound weakness, yen strength. So if you plan to take a buy on a breakout of this structure and then you start scaling down looking for some trades, you might be in a position where there's a breakout and a break back in, and then you'd be like, oopsie daisy, you know, maybe this was a bit impulsive. Not maybe, it would be, right? Especially when we've got all the signs that the yen is strong and pound is potentially weak. So what you want to see now is a structural change. You want to see price creating that structure, creating a new high, then seeing a retest of this structure after price is left for a period of time, and then potentially just see a new break of this level. Once you get that new break of this level, then look for your retest so that you have this uptrend in your favor. Again, it just boils back to you don't want to be first, just wait second or third. If you buy the break of the structure now, it's only an uptrend starting to form, but it's not confirmed. So that's how I would approach buys, but I'm not buying this. As I said, the analysis lasts for 24 to 48 hours. That's why we come back on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays to do the morning analysis and obviously the live sessions as well, so that we can reanalyze the markets. Always planning every morning just to keep in line with the direction of the markets. And I've always said this to you all, usually on Monday/Tuesday, when the market's confirmed a currency strength, more often than not, you can trade that strength all the way till Friday. Okay, so right now, all we're doing is just mentally preparing ourselves for the week ahead. We do not know that any of this analysis is going to play out. A lot of the time it does, but this one could totally flip on its head and not. No one cares. We'll be back Tuesday morning and we'll reanalyze this, okay? So that's the plans for pound JPY. Now, let's take a look at New Zealand Dollar USD. What do we see with the structure of this market? Well, we can see that the market was really pushing strong to the upside. Bullish structure. We see that New Zealand dollar was strong. We can see that the dollar was weak, right? We see prices topping out at these structural highs and violating previous structural lows, indicating a potential reversal. Question is now, is the dollar strong or is New Zealand dollar weak? Well, because we don't have many more New Zealand dollar pairs to look at, we'll run through this and see what's happening. Now, we know that the euro is strong, okay, or stronger. So if that's the case, what should we see on euro New Zealand dollar? If we know the euro is kind of strong, no, it's not kind of strong. It is strong. What should we see? Maybe not an uptrend, because don't discount that, you know, New Zealand dollar has been strong, but we should see what? Bullish sentiment. Okay, so we see bullish sentiment, sell by structure, but bullish sentiment. Okay, so is New Zealand dollar still strong? Well, let's see what's happening. Pound, New Zealand dollar. What should we see with pound, New Zealand dollar? Slight weakness in the pound, strength in the New Zealand dollar versus New Zealand dollar USD. Where should we see pound, New Zealand dollar? Up or down, guys? Down. Let's take a look. Beautiful, good. And New Zealand dollar CAD, we've seen, what did we see with New CAD? We saw, what did we see with CAD again? Good memories, CAD strength. Okay, yeah. So what would we see with New Zealand dollar CAD? Nice. Well done, Nelson. Okay, range. So the New Zealand dollar strength, New Zealand dollar strength, New Zealand dollar strength, yen kicking in, okay. New euro stronger New Zealand dollar, we know that, so that's fine. And then, okay, potential USD weakness. Is this a reversal? This is the question, right? This is the question. Is this a reversal? I do not think that this is a reversal yet. I do not think that this is a reversal yet. I'm not discounting that New Zealand dollar could still remain strong. Okay. This is what would need to confirm. Why would New Zealand dollar be weak though? It just doesn't make sense. Okay. I'm going to say this. I think that right now we are ranging, and I think the markets are undecided as to where it wants to go. If I really look at this clearly, and if I take my structural highs and the major wick rejection areas here, I think this is how I need to see the market. Right now, we're trapped and the market is in the middle of nowhere, and we are waiting for confirmation of where it wants to go. Is this a buying area in the market? Well, you all know plans with ranges, breakouts, retests, but if you want to buy the lows and sell the highs, it's completely fine. But would I? Don't think so. To confirm this reversal, we're going to need to see the break of the structure. But based on what I'm seeing with potential dollar weakness and New Zealand dollar strength, I would say that I'm more buy bias than I am sell bias. Okay, so I would want to see confirmation of that, and that would be a break above retest and then a continuation to the upside. Now, this analysis right now is, as I said, in the middle of nowhere. Okay, that's where price is at. So I personally reckon, and I'm going to remove this for the simple fact that I only want one plan. For the next 24 hours, I'm going to stick to buy bias, even though it's ranging, and I'm going to wait for true confirmation of that break and retest. I'll come back to the charts on Tuesday morning. We'll reanalyze this. But for now, just to make sure that I'm not planning to buy or sell, and I only have one plan, I think this is a plan from what I can see across the board. To me, it only makes sense. Okay. Does this make sense to you? Sorry, before we continue moving on. Okay. Take a look at our final pair. So Euro, New Zealand dollar. Now, we know New Zealand dollar has been strong and is still strong. We also know that the euro is strong as well. Now, how many euro pairs have we looked at? We've looked at euro pound. Yes. We've looked at euro yen. Okay. But we know the yen is strong, and we looked at euro dollar. Man, you know what? The markets, the markets at the moment are really correcting or really trying to find its way. That's God's honest truth. So what we're doing now is we're really like using as much of the knowledge that we have to really find out what the markets are doing. I'm going to say to all you high time frame traders, I think you have a little waiting to do on Monday to see where the momentum starts to kick in and shift. And if it falls in line with structure, then take your trades. But I think Tuesday is when you're going to really excel when we go through the pairs again. Okay, we're going to get a good directional bias of what we're looking for Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. But with Euro strength and New Zealand strength, I'm going to say right now, we have to stick to sell bias. Okay. Only because this was the lower high that made the lower low, and this is just a nice pullback into that level. There's not really been much higher lows that's been forming into this level, right? It's just been a really nice pullback. So we know it's bullish sentiment, or bullish sentiment at the moment, but in a sell by structure. So what I would say we need to see first happen is this: a momentum shift, and then start using the entry requirements and patterns from Momentum Masterclass 3.0 to look for some of those 50% retracement trades, and then using your scaling down methods to your 15-minute to look for those structural changes. Okay, that's what I would say. I would not be looking to sell here. I just want to see a shift. Now, if that doesn't happen, then you should all know how to then wait for price to create structure. It will be your wick rejection with your indecision, failing to break below, shift in structure, break of structure, confirmation of sell by structure, and then break and retests, and then continuations back to these lows. Okay. So that would be the sell sentiment I personally would be looking for on Monday. Why am I so adamant that I want sells and not buys? Because I haven't seen any bullish structure. I've seen price pulling back into the major lower high, and I'm following the structure. That is correct. Okay, man, I just what I have to stick to, right? I don't want to give two plans. That's all I'm doing. I just feel that that makes sense to me. Why would I think New Zealand dollar is stronger than the euro? Because euro yen is rangy, euro USD, euro yen. Yeah, I think this makes more sense. Okay. Does this make sense to you all? Okay, I have to give you a plan B, right? Because look, and this is my plans, but to be fair to you all, this is also a major key level. So all I'm going to say is, and there's a lot of euro strength as well. If this breaks above, then you know the dealio, right? That's just down to you all. I don't want to I don't want you all to think, oh, we'll wait for the breakout and look for buys now. The same sentiment will have to change. It will have to leave, then come back, then look for the bounce and continuation. I don't want to say, look, let's just move this up here, right? This is what you'll have to see. A break above this area here. Counting for as many of these wicks as we can, so that, no breakouts and breakback-ins now. Strong break lows above. But this is my plan, okay? Is this a double top? This is a double top that you could sell if it was Tuesday, Wednesday, or Thursday. This is not a double top you can sell at market open. We need to figure out what the sentiment is. It changes constantly. So you need to wait, Daniel, for that change, okay? So that's the 10 pairs. I really hope that makes sense to you all. I think we've done pretty well with the analysis, and we've got a good idea of the market sentiment, currency strengths, and the directional biases that we're looking for. We'll be back on Tuesday to reanalyze the markets in the morning, and yeah, we'll go from there. So thank you everybody for participating.